Good evening, everyone, and welcome to RVing in New England. It is Wednesday, and what a crazy day it is in Boston. We got a nerve-to news release right out the gate. The Boston Red Sox have won in the bottom of the ninth. Finally found their way back into the win column. Let me get my co-host up here. We'll get rid of some of our graphics here, and let's bring up Mr. DePietro. Let's also get rid of that one.
Hey, Bob, good evening, and welcome everyone to the Boston Bruins pregame show and the Boston Red Sox postgame show. Tonight we're talking about sports in Boston. No RVing at all, right, Bob?
That's right. That's right. We'll just talk all about sports. We'll forget Janine. We'll leave her down there in the lobby in the green room, and we'll just talk Boston sports.
You know what? We have a great guest, but let's just be honest. We get people that watch this show from all over the world, let alone all over the country. Is there another city that their three major league teams, football, baseball, and hockey, have a chance of winning championships in the same season?
In about 6 months, right? Like October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June. 8 months. So, they'll hopefully by the end of the night they'll have. You know what scares me, John? You just have 36,000 people exiting Fenway Park,
right?
And the Red Sox just won,
right?
And they're happy, and they've been drinking all afternoon,
right? They're heading down to the Garden.
They're walking over to TD Garden,
yep,
and they're going to fill every bar around the Garden,
yep.
And then at 11 o'clock tonight, when they win the Stanley Cup, there'll be 50 or 60,000 people within a half mile of TD Garden. They actually set up a safety zone.
But Bob, that's not even counting the number of people that will be going into Boston to be part of that. Because I know back in 2003 or 2004, when the Red Sox won, and they were playing that seventh game at Fenway Park, my neighbor and I, who's a doctor, and of course everybody knows that I'm an RV scholar, we got in our car and we drove right into Boston, and we said it's too creepy here. So we ended up in Brookline, but there's nothing like being in the city that's winning the championship. And
but despite the fact that we're competing against the Bruins and the Red Sox, we've got a tremendous number of viewers going out the gate. Jerry Plant is there. Hi, Jerry. Hey, Jerry, I'm going to come down tomorrow morning. I got to pick up a grill, so just let the boys and girls know that I'll be down in the morning. Two gals in the Boston Brood, good evening, with Laurie and Michelle. We got some more folks there too. Not a whole lot going on RV-wise. I mean, they're busy. It's amazing. They continue to be busy. They continue to set records in April and May and June. But I know Pete's RV still has their road show down at the Rutland Fairgrounds. That continues through the end of the month. Major's RV does have a couple of sales. I posted off on a Facebook page, and they have some discounts for Father's Day.
Yep.
I know Bradford is closed on Father's Day to give all the employees time to spend with their dads. And he'll spend some time with his dad, who started that business many years ago and is an icon in the New England RV world. So best wishes to Bob, and that's great that he does that. And I don't know what else. Have you seen anything else that's going on?
Not going on, but I'll tell you, this past weekend we got back in the motorhome. We were up in the great state of Maine. And when we were coming back on Sunday afternoon, I would say there was never a time when I didn't see a camper heading northbound. As we were heading southbound, there was everything. There was Class A's, B's, C's, travel trailers, toy haulers. And I said, you know what? This is not even 4th of July yet. And if that's any indication of the activity that's going to be out there this summer. But there's one more thing that I want to say about RVing. Tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock, we leave Worcester to fly to Salt Lake City to pick up an RV to go camping at Yellowstone because we're there for a family wedding. Now, I despise packing. And especially when we have to pack to be under a certain limit, to be on the airplane, to carry the bags from one end of the airport to another. I know when you and I flew into Where was it last?
Okay.
Indianapolis.
No, we flew into Indianapolis.
Right. We couldn't have been, our gate couldn't have been farther from civilization.
Right.
You know, we set some records with the steps taken. But the difference is, if I was driving out there or going somewhere in the RV tomorrow at the same time frame, I've got everything out there. I've got it all packed. I don't have to, you know, if I want to take 3 shirts or 2 coats, I can do that. But airplane misery is, well, I think it's synonymous, airplane travel and misery. Well, so I'm looking forward to jumping in that RV.
Right. At least you're doing that. I think you're going to be doing a couple of segments for Rolling on TV.
Rolling on TV.
While you're on the trip. Yep.
Getting going, and got all the camera gear and all set to go. And but you know what? I'm looking forward to the RV part as much as I am to the wedding. And I know our guest has been to Yellowstone. And I know that we're going to talk about that in the next few minutes. And
and anybody else that's viewing tonight, and the attendance is skyrocketing. So it must be all of Janine's friends. We better get her on here soon.
But Bob, I know the reason. I know the reason because we promoted it, and because she is calling from New Jersey, it is an international show.
Well, there you go. That's true. But anybody who is on, who has been to Yellowstone and wants to send some tips over to John, do that. So Michelle's got a question for you. I don't understand it. Did you see it? She said,
yes,
got that
I did get that camera. I did.
Okay. For the camera that you're taking with you. Okay.
Yeah. I got it.
Either Diane or Martin's on from Maine Good Sam. Howdy. Anxious for another great show. Thank you, guys. Mark Polk. I was speaking to Mark today, and Mark Polk is with us, and he's a good friend of Janine's. So let's, without further, Riney's on. Good evening, everyone.
Want to do before we further it.
What?
Donna Swenson, Walter, we don't know if Walter will be here, but his wife had surgery this morning, and he has taken photos of her lying in the recovery room. She's not that happy with it.
Not a good idea. You should not.
Thyroid surgery.
Right. You should not photograph your wife recovering from surgery.
I wrote something. Walter, she's real happy. And she responded. She said, "I'm not happy, but I'm well, and I still love him." So Walter and Donna, we want to wish you, good luck in keeping your marriage together. And Donna, we want you to have speedy recovery. Quickly,
Maria Galante Moore is on tonight. She is viewing us tonight from the Searsport Campground in Searsport, Maine. Beautiful area. And John Sinisi, thank you for your concern. John says, does anybody know about the fire? What the heck happened up at Bailey's Campground, Scarborough, Maine?
Right near Zagami.
Total loss. No, it was not a total loss. The building was a total loss. Nobody was injured. There was a fire in their restaurant right next to the pool as you go into the area. They did get it out. The building is a total loss, but they'll build quickly. They do have another restaurant on the grounds. There is absolutely no interruption in service. If you've got reservations, get yourself up there. The place will be all cleaned up really soon. So we wish them well up at Bailey's Campground.
While we're talking about Maine, I was up in Old Orchard Beach on Sunday morning, and I'm in a bagel shop, and a lady came up to me because I had this shirt on right here, not the same one, but like the one you have on. It says RVing in New England. And she said, I watch you too every Wednesday night. I can't remember her name. She's in New England, and she's thinking of buying a unit. And she said, I watch you guys every week.
Were you at Beach Bagels?
It's right halfway up the street from the railroad tracks.
Right. If you're looking at the water, it's on the left-hand side.
Yes.
Yeah. We go down there quite frequently. So I haven't been noticed there. So it must be a pleasant personality and your good looks. Because I go in there quite frequently and I wear my shirt.
Well, she was a customer.
She was a customer. Okay.
She was a customer.
Let's get Janine on. She's going to have half a program if we keep going the way that we're going here.
Yeah, we're excited for her. She's cool.
She is still there.
She's still there.
Really cool.
All the way from New Jersey.
All the way. Although I'd rather be in New England, let me tell you. I went to college there. Maine is my favorite place to camp. I'm pea green.
Where'd you go to college?
in New Hampshire, Notre Dame College in Manchester. New Hampshire.
Yep.
Now defunct.
Right.
In the shadows of Campers Inn, Bob.
That's right. It is.
Shadows of Campers Inn.
Well, if you come to Maine, you have to let John and I know. I'm up there all summer, and John's up many weekends. He takes his motor home up, so you let us know when you come in there. You know, we've been wanting to have Janine on for a long time. We see her at all the trade shows, and you know, like most of us media folks, sometimes the only time we see each other is at the RV trade shows.
Sadly,
and I know,
right?
Right. Then we get caught up on everything, but we've been after her. But she's a very busy woman with a very tight schedule. So John and I have been talking much too much tonight, but hopefully I've.
Well, all good stuff though. Like John,
that attendance keeps going up.
Great.
Holy Christmas! Let's see. Real quick here. Mark Polk says hello, Janine. Good to see you. Don Polk says.
Mark and Don.
And Don is on. Hi, Bob and John. Lois Kuntz Wills. Hi from Maryland. There you go.
Yeah, a girl camper.
Maine good Sam again. Diane has instructed me not to take her picture. Best wishes, Donna. Kate Dunbar. Good evening from Smoky Mountain National Park. That is one of my favorite places in the world.
It's in the Smoky Mountains. Is it in Tennessee or Virginia or where?
It crosses over Tennessee and.
Or am I thinking of? I'm thinking
North
of that
Carolina.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, Blue Ridge Parkway. That's what I'm thinking of.
Everybody's looking at the woman, and they see girl camper, and they say, "Who is this woman?" So Janine, take a couple of minutes and tell them who you are and why you do what you do.
Wikipedia, Janine.
I'm just a girl with a camper. I grew up in a camping family, love camping. Some of the best memories I have growing up, large family, seven kids and my mom and dad, and camped all over New England, Canada, Nova Scotia with our cousins from Massachusetts. And I just never forgot that. But then I married a non-camper. And I really just had this feeling that, you know, once you take a non-camper camping, he's just going to be won over. But in my husband's case, that wasn't the case. We came home from a trip to Prince Edward Island. Maybe I shouldn't have taken him so far on our first trip, but he came home and he said, well, I'm glad that's done. Like he checked it off his list. Like we camped, like we never have to do it again.
Is he an engineer? Is he an engineer?
No, he's a home inspector.
Oh, well, something that's black and white.
So he, you know, it just wasn't his thing. And we had a little beach house down at the Jersey Shore, and it's hard to have a beach house and a camper. And a couple of years went by, and I started seeing online about these women who go camping without their husbands. And I showed this article to my husband, and he was like, oh my gosh, it's your people and they found you, and sign up right away. You should do this. So he, you know, he was all on board. He's such a cheerleader. And as long as he doesn't have to go with me, he's thrilled.
So, but how did you actually
still married?
Oh, we're still married. Just had 36 years last week.
Okay. It probably extends. Your marriage.
But he hasn't gone camping in 35 years.
No, he does go. He does go once in a while. In fact, John, we were talking about this. You were talking about your trip. In March, my husband and I went to a family wedding in Palm Springs. So we flew to LAX and we rented an RV from Monte, and we drove out to the desert and we went to the family wedding. And then we spent 10 days just wandering around the desert. It was so great not to have to drive there. And then we took it up to Salt Lake City for our event at RVX and left it there and flew home. It was great.
Yeah. So any immediate tips I should be aware of as far as seeing Yellowstone? And by the way, I think Bob mentioned it. If any of our viewers have been to Yellowstone and want to write in the comments, we're always happy to see it. My daughter is pretty much being the wagon master on this trip.
Oh, it's a great family trip.
Hold that thought, Janine.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to, and I hate to keep interrupting, but we got so many new people tonight. I have to believe it's the girl campers. We got Elizabeth Callahan. Hi from Monacan. I hope I pronounced it right, Virginia.
Yes,
we love Janine Pettit and girl campers. And then Diane McNamara has joined us tonight. Love Girl Campus. And for those of you who don't know, Diane's a good friend, and she owns a PR firm here in Boston called Fire It Up PR. And she does amazing things with big companies, and two of her accounts are RVIA and Go RVing. So she knows what she's talking about in the RV world too. So thanks very much for joining tonight, Diane. I appreciate it. So go ahead, tell the rest of the story.
Here from Marshfield.
Well, I was going to tell you, John. So I also write a blog for Go RVing. You know, I love this industry. I was girl camping for a couple of years. I was speaking at an event, and Courtney Bias from Go RVing was in the audience, and she said, "What? Who is this crazy girl? Who is this lady who loves this industry?" And she came up to me and said, "Would you be willing to write a blog for us and tell us what girl camping is all about?" And so I've been writing for Go RVing for 5 years now, and it's such a pleasure to work with them. But I did a blog post for Go RVing on tips and tricks for Yellowstone. So I'll send you the link, but I would say stay hydrated, have plenty of time, because I had a headache from the altitude for the first couple of days. Altitude is not really bad there. It's only like 3,500 feet, believe it or not, but I felt it. And just wear good shoes.
Good shoes.
And should John bring a lot of food with him so that he can feed the bears?
No, don't feed. You would not believe how many people do not pay attention to the animal safety things in Yellowstone. It's crazy. I watch people.
You don't think John pays attention, do you?
People, they tell you over and over, like a buffalo is huge and they're sitting down and you don't think they can get up quickly. They can get up so quickly and they can jump like 10 feet in the air, but people would still walk up inches from them to take a picture. Don't do that.
That won't be me. And I won't be sharing any food. I'll be eating
Don't
it.
share food. In fact, we had the rangers knock on our door. We camped in Fishing Bridge campground, the only campground there with full hookups, which was a prerequisite of my husband. Anytime he camps with me, there cannot be boondocking. So we were at Fishing Bridge, sound asleep, and all of a sudden there's pounding on the door like midnight. Ranger, Ranger. We had left a water bottle on the picnic table, and I had a cooler that I only kept water bottles in. There was never any food in it. And he said, "You got to get this thing in your truck, get the water bottle off your picnic table." They recognize a cooler, and you can't even leave anything outside.
I'm gonna keep the windows rolled up too.
Yeah, we got some more fans.
We never saw bear. We got plenty of buffalo.
Okay, Michelle and Laurie say, "John, no close-ups of buffaloes in Yellowstone." Okie dokie. Michelle Rest is on from Ohio. Lynette Hirschberger, hello from the Football Hall of Fame, Canton, Ohio. Love RVing. Don Polk says, "Oh, I just lost it." Oh, Janine is Personality Plus. She makes everything so fun. Scott Nichols, thanks for joining again, Scott from Marshfield. And we caught up on those. Wow, we got a lot of activity tonight. I'll tell you what, we have to take a little break. We're going to do it quick tonight because we have so much activity going on. But we have to do our little break. Go, John.
Okay, so everybody, we want to thank you so much for joining us for the live version as well as the tape version of RVing in New England. My name is John DePietro, and on behalf of my colleague, Bob Zagami, we want to thank you so much because for the past several months, we've been reaching record highs with numbers of people that are viewing the show. And the only reason they're doing it is because you folks are the ones that share it. We can only send it out to so many people, but you guys are the ones that share it. So somewhere on your screen, there's a little button that says share. So please share it with someone that is into RVing already, wants to learn more about destinations. And also share it like with the people last week that we met in Maine that saw the shirt and said, "I love your show. I'm thinking of buying an RV and I'm learning so much from you folks." Let's invite some new people into the RV lifestyle by sharing this show. Bob, there you go.
That's great. That's fantastic. Thank you, John. All right, Janine, what would you like to talk about next? You know, one thing, I do have a question. Girl camper, it's not just for single women, right? I mean, you cross all lines. So explain the demographics and also touch on do they have to have an old camper, a new camper, or can they just pop up a tent?
Okay, thank you for asking that, Bob, because I got to tell you, we have this saying at headquarters here, and that is there's no wrong way to camp like a girl. So we want everybody to know who wants to get out there in the outdoors. It doesn't matter if you're in a van that you have tricked out, took all the seats out of your family van and put a cot in it. If you have a tent, if you have a Class B, if you are in a rented cabin at a KOA or a Jellystone, if you have the family camper, but you're taking it girl camping, there's no wrong way to camp like a girl. And we don't care if you're single, you're married, you're divorced, you're a same-sex couple, you're all on your own, you're coming with your sister's girlfriends. Everyone is welcome around our campfire.
Jeanette,
and I'll bet it's a lot of fun.
I read a statistic that at your last event, I forget what state was it in. I don't have it here.
We had a couple going on last weekend, but I camped last weekend with 18 girls up in the Delaware Water Gap.
Okay, that's right. In Pennsylvania, the wine consumption at the liquor stores in Pennsylvania hit an all-time high, and they attribute it to women around a campfire with bottles of wine. Is that true?
Well, I can't say that because what happens around the campfire stays around the campfire.
Oh, jeez. You're no fun at all.
Oh, boy. I know when my wife...
I do want to tell you something about that, though. It's so fun to be out without husbands, kids, burdens. Like, it's such a great time to be outdoors and just relax and enjoy.
Burden.
What's that?
Did you say burden?
Well, without the burdens you have at home, right. We're at that age. We're taking care of aging parents. We still have kids we're trying to get out the door. It's nice to walk away from all of that for a weekend once in a while and enjoy a festive cocktail and a really nice dinner and just the company of women that you really enjoy. So it's really, it's kind of a healing thing, to just be able to get out there.
Michelle O'Laurie has a question and said, do you do potlucks at your events?
Yes, we do. In fact, I have this theory about camping. When I host a trip, I call it a KISS trip. Keep it simple, silly. You hear my dog? Keep it simple, silly. And what we do is we know that Friday for most women is a travel day. So all we do is ask everybody to bring a hearty hors d'oeuvre to share. And that's great because you can make it ahead of time before you leave home. And then on Saturday night, we do something called BYOP, bring your own protein. So as the host, I get a big grill going. I get all the charcoal. We bring all the side dishes left over from Friday night. And if you want chicken, you bring chicken. If you got a tuna steak or a hot dog or a hamburger or a filet mignon, everybody brings whatever they're eating, and we grill it all on one big community grill and just enjoy. We keep the food simple so we can get out there.
But Janine, you know what Dawn Polk would bring? She would bring skewers full of vegetables.
I could take a page from Dawn's book, let me tell you. That's why Dawn looks the way Dawn looks with that gorgeous skin and all that fitness.
So BYOP does not mean bring your own pot.
Bring your own protein.
Oh, protein. Okay. By pot, I meant with food in it. That's what I meant. Pot meaning
potluck, whatever it is you're going to eat.
Right. So, somebody asked here, are there dues for being a girl camper? Kate asked that.
No, we don't do dues. We don't do memberships. We don't do numbers. We don't do rules. We are just have one requirement to be a girl camper, and that is that you be kind. So we enjoy the company of women who are nurturing other women and helping them learn how to be a girl camper. So we ask you to leave the judgments at the door and just be a friend.
So you're not an updated version of Girls Gone Wild?
No. Listen, let me tell you something about the demographic of a lot of the girl campers. We cross the board. We had 16, 17-year-old girls brought by their mothers. That was such a joy last weekend to see these young girls setting up their own RVs. One of the 17-year-old girls at last week's camp out bought a pop-up camper on Facebook for $100. With her little job, her money from her little job, she is renovating the whole thing. She brought a girlfriend with her, and it was lovely to see those young girls roasting marshmallows, making food, hanging in a hammock over the creek, going on hikes.
Mother-daughter. Right? I mean,
what's that?
That was a mother-daughter combination.
Her mother is a girl camper,
right.
And you know what? Her mother's just like, I want my daughter to be outdoors. So her mother drove the trailer there, but that's where she stepped out. Those two 17-year-old girls, they had that thing down pat, and they sat with us, and we enjoyed their
great story.
That's very interesting, Janine, because usually the stereotype is it's the father and the son that go fishing when they get to the campground. Here you've got mother-daughter thing, and that's so cool because
ceiling.
You know, we have daughters, and our daughters are coming with us now, and their family.
Yeah, great thing to do in multi-generations. My mom is kind of a Dallas elite Texas kind of mom, and my mother gets her hair done like weekly. The nails are always perfect. She flew up here for my daughter's high school graduation last year, and I said, Mom, we're going, the three of us, 3 generations. We went up to Connecticut, Massachusetts. We camped all over up there, and by the time the week was over, my mom was like, you know what? I do like this. I forgot how much it was such great bonding time, those 3 generations together, and my youngest daughter will never forget that.
That's great.
That's a great experience.
That's great.
So you do
strictly no men. Is that right?
Say that again.
No men.
No men.
No men.
That sounds like a Chinese dish.
We don't exclude men. Generally, we camp with just the girls.
So if they want to come, you just ignore them.
There are times when. Well, sometimes, like we had one of the women last week, and she and her husband happened to trip, and so said, "Would you mind if my husband came along? Because I could join you, you know, because we're going through." And I said, "Of course." And he was nice enough to keep a low profile, but you know, we are women who camp. It doesn't matter if we camp with our fathers, husbands, girlfriends, you know, the point is that as a woman, you know how to operate that thing, and you don't have to need someone there to get it done. You know, I kind of get upset with the man bashing that happens these days. You know, we're not man bashers. We just want to know that, you know what, we don't need them to do this, but if they'd like to come along, they can.
Okay.
Bobby,
Teresa Tomlinson. Well,
in Janine's voice, or is it me? Or
no, I think there's a delay in Janine's voice. There was a little bit of a delay and cracking up, but maybe that usually comes right back in.
Well, that's because she was talking faster than the speed of sound.
Right. I put the Girl Camper URL up there because Teresa Tomlinson Corral said, how can I find groups to camp with? So go on that site and you'll see all of the stuff that you have to know about Girl Camper.
I got a question.
Talk about, if you would, Janine, you know, we've got a couple of little guy dealers here in New England who are members of NERVDA. I know you're an ambassador for Little Guy and do some work with Forest River, but the Girl Camper College is something that I want to bring to New England in the fall through one of our dealers. But explain Girl Camper College in general and why it's so popular with your members or prospective members. Can you?
I think she's frozen.
I think, yeah, it looks like we've lost your voice, Janine.
Should she just sign out then come back in?
Yeah, Janine, if you can wave your hand if you can hear me. Okay. Why don't you go ahead, sign out, and then sign back in again? Yep. Okay, that'll work out well. While she's doing that, we'll plug in our share earlier here, John, so that you can get that up and at 'em.
People heard it just a few moments ago, and folks, we just want to let you know that the reason we can reach 3, 4, 5, 6, 10,000 people a week with this content is because of folks like you. So just take a moment, hit the share button, send it to somebody that is already RVing or thinking of joining the RVing lifestyle. And while I say that, people joining the style, one of the things that Janine had mentioned before we went on the air is that many of the women who are part of her group are widows. And, all the societal, not trends, but statistics are that generally the husband dies first, and they die for a wide variety of different health reasons or whatever. But many times the couple as a couple before had great time camping, and why should the woman have to give up camping? And this girl camper is a perfect way for them to continue camping with a group of like-minded people, which is always important.
Right. So in terms of your trip, John, are you just doing the motorhome up to Yellowstone, or are you doing some other RV adventures out there?
No. So here's what we're doing. And it's funny because there are two ways. I'll give you a little preview of what we're doing for Rolling on TV. There's two ways to RV at Yellowstone. Number one is to pick up the RV at your local dealer, like here in Central Mass. I could pick it up at Fuller and drive all the way out there, but we have a short window. So we are flying there, picking up the motorhome, heading straight to Jackson Hole from Salt Lake City, which I'm told is a 275-mile trip. And then we're going to Yellowstone the next day. And then we've got to head back, and we're going back to Logan, Utah,
all right,
for a flight on Monday morning. So
great.
That's
Janine,
Michelle.
There you
go.
Can you hear it?
I can hear you. I hope you can hear me.
We can not only hear you, we can see you.
Yeah.
So I started saying when we had the technical difficulties is that many of the women that are part of your group are widows who had prior camping experience, and for one reason or another, their husbands are either deceased or unable to camp, but they enjoy the camping and RV lifestyle, and you make that possible, right, Janine?
Yeah, what we have helped a lot of women, and I think what has happened to a lot of women, especially when you have a big Class A, it's just natural to kind of let your husband handle all the duties, driving and the dumping station and all of those things. And then, God forbid, he passes away. They don't know how to operate that big Class A. So we have helped a lot of women just kind of downsize into something so they can continue in the lifestyle. So maybe they'll get a smaller Class C or something without slide outs. Some of them will even go down to a Class B, but it allows them to stay in the lifestyle and do the things that they love. And that's one of my favorite things to do with in the whole girl camper thing. And there was one woman, I want to tell you this story. I was at a camper college where we were teaching women how to operate trailers. So a lot of them just don't even know. So they didn't grow up in it. And it's new.
What are the biggest fears that they have with trailers?
The number one thing is they're afraid to tow, and I always say, towing is a skill set, and you just need someone to tell you how to do it. And I always recommend that women go to the local U-Haul dealership near their house and rent those little tiny trailers that you bring home all your kids' crap from college in, and just hook it up to the back of your car on a Wednesday, drive it around town empty. So you're getting that experience. You're not in heavy traffic. You don't have to get on and off the highway. Just drive it around your town. Go over to the Walmart parking lot. Make a U-turn. Look in your mirror. It's still behind me. So you need to take a step into this. So there's no need to hook something up and drive to Yellowstone. You can just ease your way into it. And so those women are really afraid. And so we host these camper colleges. And once we show them, This is how it goes on the hitch. This is the pin. Now pull this thing up. You see how you can't get it off? Once they see the components and they look at the chains and they see the anti-sway bar, they're like, this isn't going to fall off the car. You know, like it's hands-on. Mm-hmm. And so that's a confidence thing.
Any other big fears they have that you alleviate?
Well, the towing is a big thing. The other thing is afraid to back up. Now, what am I going to do when I get this to the campground and I can't back it up? Well, the thing about backing up is you don't have to do it. Usually someone is there at the campground who will do it for you. And the other thing is you could do what I did. For 2 years, I towed my little 10-foot trailer. The very first trailer I had, a 1959 Field and Stream. I bought it off eBay for $2,500. I paid for a pull-through site for 2 years. There was all these giant Class A's, and there was me with my little 59 Field and Stream in the middle, and then all the Class A's. And I had to walk over to the part of the campground where all the girls were because I wasn't going to back up. And then one day I just said, this is silly. I got to figure out how to do this. Everybody's doing it. And, you know, it took me a while, but once I got it, I don't even think about it now. My husband came home the other day. I was coming home from a trip. He was out at the gym and he called me and I said, I'm like 5 miles from home. And he said, yeah, I'm about 10 miles from home. By the time he pulled in, I had that thing in the driveway, unhitched, wheel chocks in and all the food out of the fridge. So, you know, once you learn how to do it, you don't have to wait around. But we try to give women that confidence that even if you don't know how to do it right away, don't let that stop you from joining us.
Hey, you have a pretty cool license plate. Tell us what it is.
Oh, my husband is officially out of things to buy me because that was my Mother's Day gift last year. So he got me personalized plates that say GRL CMPR. So Girl Camper.
With Joycey plates.
Yeah, and I think I want to get, for my little Max trailer, I'm thinking of getting a plate that says single wide.
Single wide.
I'll get a single wide.
So you don't put a blue tarp over it when you go camping, right?
No, not that Max. That thing is a work of art.
Single far.
Yeah. Go back to the camper college, though, and kind of give us a flavor for, it's a half a day, right? Because we want to try to do one up here in New England. But
we normally do it on a Friday night, and we have like a gathering time from like 5 to 6 p.m. And that gives people time to get off work. But it's amazing to us. We just had a camper college at Setzer's World of Camping in Huntington, West Virginia, and we had women come from 7 surrounding states because they're desperate to learn this stuff, and they're desperate to be at a dealership who is willing to teach it to them. So,
and also because there's somebody in West Virginia that owns a camper.
One of the girl campers came all the way from Minnesota to buy her camper at Bankston's in Alabama because that's where she went to camper college.
Either that or it's free wine. But do they pay to go to girl camper, or is the dealer subsidized the program?
No, it's dealer subsidized, so it's free to everybody who comes out to do it. And we will stay there as long as need be. I usually fly in the early morning and work with the dealerships all day. I talk to their staff. I tell them, like, what are the needs of girl campers? What are their fears? So that when they're talking to them, they really can address them with the kind of respect for the concerns they have, which might be different from someone who grew up RVing and has done it their whole life. So if you're a total newbie, you have to come at it from a different standpoint. So I work with the sales staff at the RV dealership during the day. We all have lunch together. I give a little presentation. And then around 5 o'clock at night, the women start rolling in. And we give that an hour and a half. And that gives them time to walk around the showroom floor and to look at all the trailers and to really be inside them. Because it's very different when you're on that showroom floor and you're standing inside that and thinking, this is too small for me. Or, you know what? This is perfect for me. I like this layout. And when you're in it and you can lay on the bed and stand in the shower and get a feel for it. And then around 6:30 or so, we do about a 2-hour demonstration. Someone from the RV dealership goes through each of the components. Let's talk about the hitch. Let's talk about why we crossed the change. This is how it goes on. This is the 7-way plug. This is your signal. So we go through all of that. Then we talk about the weigh station, like how does the water go in? How does the water come out? Where does it go? And what are the rules for doing this? So we talk about the components and how to operate the trailer once you set it up at the campsite.
When you're doing this demo, Janine, is it on a PowerPoint or are you right next to a unit?
No, we're standing right at the trailer.
Okay, out in the service area or out in the showroom?
The dealer usually brings one into the lobby and everybody is going around, walking around in a circle.
Well, this is real hands-on.
Total hands-on. And then we just have a Q&A, and we always say the Q&A sometimes lasts longer. Like it takes about an hour to go through the trailer. Sometimes the Q&A is an hour and a half. And
it gives these people a comfort level where nobody will think that they asked a crazy question, right?
No, there's no wrong questions. But
So,
if you've never camped, these are things, asking something like, how do I get water in the trailer may seem like a no-brainer to someone like us, but to someone who's never used one or grew up like me, tent camping or in a pop-up, we never had running water in a trailer. So this is an opportunity for, this is what happens. And when I'm ready to leave, this is what I have to do.
So what's the average number of people that you might have a class, and what's the most you've ever had in one of your classes?
Well, we've had camper colleges with as little as 15 people, and we've had camper colleges with 75. 75 is a little hard because it's a big crowd, and for everybody to get an opportunity to walk around the trailer. So we did one at Tom's Camperland down in Phoenix, Arizona, and we had about 60 women come, and he had a big circle of chairs set up. So we actually kind of ended up breaking that up and giving everybody, we created at the last minute, like stations for people to go to. So usually we do an RSVP now. And so we know ahead of time, let's see how we're going to break this up. And
so
it works better.
The people that are attending your colleges, are these people that don't own now or just got one or
there are people who are just totally new. They don't have one. They're watching. They want to know what it's all about. But then there are other people who are like, I want to downsize. I don't want something that's big. They may be like empty nesters. They still have the big family bunkhouse in the driveway, and they just want to get something small.
Yeah. So the dealers must be happy if they've turned these into sales.
It's not a sales event, but most dealers understand that they're playing the long game. Like people don't generally walk into a camper college and buy a trailer, although it has happened. Because these are people who have done their research ahead of time. And then they get in there and they're like, you know what? I like working with a dealer who would go to the trouble to host an event like this. I'm going to buy here.
Yeah.
So it's usually people who buy on that night, people who have done their research already. But what we know is that someone's going to come back and look at that dealership 2, 3, even 4 times before they say, okay, I'm going to do it and diving in. So we don't like to market it as a sales event. It's not a sales event. Right. It is a confidence building, long-term relationship with a customer.
Right. If the dealer handles it properly, it can be
right.
The capability to develop that relation. The trust factor, right? Really, the trust factor.
Right. And I started telling you this before. I was doing a camper college at Haydocy Airstream in Columbus, Ohio. And Mike Harlan, who is the GM at an Airstream dealer down in North Trail in Florida now, Punta Gorda. Yeah. But Mike was a great proponent. Mike helped me start Camper College. It was Mike's idea, and he and I developed it together. And he was a fantastic host for the event for many years. So we were there, and Mike called me, and he said, are you still at the hotel? Because there's a widow here, and she came here this morning. She saw it on Facebook, and she wants to meet you. So I went over there. I wasn't due there for a while yet, but I got over there, and she sat down with me, and she said, I don't know what to do. My husband just passed away. And I said, oh, I'm so sorry. When did you lose your husband? And she said, 3 weeks ago. And I was like, oh, my God, the poor lady was so raw still. And she said, we had all these plans. He died very suddenly. And all of a sudden, everything you thought you were going to do, you're not doing anymore. So basically, I just sat and talked with her and, just let her talk. But I said to her, we have so many women here. She was a big fisherman. She loved the outdoors. And so Mike said to her, let me show you something small. And Mike said point blank to her, this is not a sales pitch, but if you decide this, I will walk you through it. He took her under his wing. She ended up buying a Tab trailer that day. She just bought it. And I ran into her in a campground 2 years later in Pennsylvania. And I said, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. And she said, your whole thing changed my life. She said, I'm busy every weekend. I have all these friends. We go places, we do things. And she said, if I hadn't come over that day, I really don't know where I would be. So that's my most gratifying girl camper story. I just.
Bob has found some questions here. I know Michelle.
Yeah, we got questions pouring in. Oh, we should say, to everybody who's putting questions in, we always go back at the end of the show or tomorrow morning and look at all the comments and post answers to them if we didn't get to them. And I would ask you to do that also, Janine, maybe tonight or tomorrow, you get 5 minutes, and give them some more advice, because I'm sure there's going to be more. But Jill Jones Evans says, are there activities planned at girl camper events, or am I on my own to meet other ladies and plan things to do?
Well, that's a great question, Jill. And you know what? One of the things about girl camping is you get to do whatever you want. So a lot of times, we have our website, the Girl Camper Facebook website. We just hit 8,000 members this morning, and we have 81,000 engagements a month on that website. It's nonstop. We will get 65 different posts in a single day. So these women are online. They're talking. They're sharing.
You mean
Facebook page? That's Facebook page, not website.
No, the Facebook page, the Girl Camper
page. So what is your Facebook page? What is your Facebook page address?
Girl Camper.
Facebook.com/Girl Camper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So these women will get online, and some of them will be saying, hey, who wants to go kayaking? I found a place. This is how much it's going to cost. And they'll put together a group. Other people will have chosen a hike. Hey, here's a little 6-mile hike on the Appalachian Trail. They did this last weekend in the Delaware Water Gap.
A little 6 mile. 6 mile ain't little as far as I'm concerned.
Well, 3 miles in, have lunch, 3 miles back. That's not too bad. So,
right. And do you take a nap? But do you take a nap in between when you reach the halfway point?
Well, I sit there and make myself a cup of coffee. I'll drink coffee or something. But yeah. But there are other women who are like, you know what? I'm sitting in my chair by the creek and I'm finishing my book. So you get to do whatever you want. All right.
Lauren Jocelyn Miller says, no, wait a minute, John. Lauren Jocelyn Miller says, hello, Janine. John Sinisi comes back with a comment. He says, what a great idea, training women how to properly RV. Yeah, what a novel idea, right, John? God forbid we should teach them about the products that we want them to buy. Right. Michelle Grena Almodovar. Hope I didn't slaughter that too much, Michelle, but she says, does the dealership do the training?
Yes, the dealership does. So generally someone from the service department comes out and talks about the components of the trailer, and then also talks about maintenance of the RV. Like what do I have to do to my battery? And how often should I be checking the filters? Things like that. And then generally someone from the sales department will talk about kind of the components of a certain RV. Like the R-Pod is a good example. Like the R-Pod is the largest selling lightweight towable in the industry. It's a fantastic trailer for girl campers. We're working on a project with R-Pod right now that I'm super excited about. And they have a bunch of different floor plans now. So a lot of times I'll say to the dealer, if they don't have a Liberty Outdoors, do you have an R-Pod? What kind of lightweight towables do you have? So they're all a little different, although the components all kind of work the same. But we'll teach women, like just this happened this weekend. one of the women had to change out her propane tank, and then she couldn't get her stove to come on. So I went over and we just had to hold down the gas, and the other women were showing her, you know, you have to wait for the gas to come through the line. So just hold the button down because you just put a new tank on. So you're going to bleed out the air and get the propane. So that was new to her. She had never done it since she had her trailer. So we teach each other.
All right, Michelle also says, where can we find camper colleges? Do you list them on the website or the Facebook page, Janine?
They are on girlcamper.com, and we just finished our last scheduled camper colleges. We actually do most of our camper colleges in the fall, in the winter, because people are camping now. Right.
Dawn, and Michelle says it would be fun to cover an event for Rolling on TV at some point. And you might want to tag that into what she's doing with Forest River, Michelle. I explained to her that Forest River is the national sponsor of Rolling on TV. So I'll get you Janine's email address, and you gals.
I think here's an important one. Lauren Jocelyn Miller.
Great.
Janine, you got me out of my midlife blues. How cool is that? What does that make you feel?
Who said that?
Lauren Jocelyn Miller.
Aw.
You know Lauren?
My pleasure. No, I don't.
Lauren, tell us where you're from and tell us why you wrote that.
Yeah,
I love to hear those stories.
Janine, you'll like this one. Don Polk says, "Look how far you have come, lady." Yeah, you've come from a little dealership getting this thing organized, and you've made it onto RVing in New England. I'd say she's probably done pretty well, John.
The hell with Fox and Friends.
Yeah, Fox and Friends. That was nothing compared to this.
They only give you 4 minutes on national TV. And besides, most of the questions they asked, they didn't even write it. They don't even know what they're talking about.
That's right. Yeah. Well, we have fun on Fox, but let me tell you, it's really great for me when I get an opportunity to spend some time really answering questions, because our goal at Girl Camper is not just to inspire women. And I got a cute letter from a lady about a month ago, and she said she belongs to all the Facebook groups for girl camping. You know, the getaway gals and the tow girls and the bitches with hitches and all. She belongs to all.
Wait. What was that last one you said?
Yeah, the bitches with hitches.
Bitches with hitches.
Yeah. So she wrote me a cute note, and she said, I belong to all the groups, but your group is the only one that educates. So a lot of them can inspire, and it's wonderful to look at those pictures and see all the women having so much fun. But if we're not giving women a toe in the door, if we're not helping them make that dream a reality, that's just mean.
Well, you know, speaking about women, I know that you were one of the early sponsors on the RV Women's Alliance. Also, you're associated with that, right?
I jumped right on board when I saw that. And we came on as a sponsor because I really feel strongly that the RV industry needs to have more women in powerful roles representing and steering the ship. Well,
that's true. And you can certainly tell that when you look at a lot of them, and we love our dealers and we love RVs, but you walk into them and you can just tell a woman did not design that interior.
Well, that's funny. I was talking to the folks at Forest River a couple of days ago, and you know, there's a lot of complaints about the interior design of trailers, and I think it's nonsense. And I want to say that right out here. You know, everything in an RV is no different than your home. So the thing the RV industry can do the most for us is to build us safe things to be out on the road in. It would be nice if they took it, the 50 Shades of Brown, and like took it up a notch. But I have never bought a house where I did not go in and say, I'm not keeping this carpet or this wall color or these countertops. We personalize our homes, but I don't know why people don't look at a camper and go, these cabinets are wood, I'm painting them. I don't like this fabric on the couch, I'm recovering them. I put wallpaper up in my house, why don't I wallpaper my RV? So I think people stop that.
I think that's true if you're buying a pre-owned unit, but you're not going to buy a brand new house and go in and tear out the carpet and paint the walls.
Yeah, but if you're buying new, you generally have a choice in those things.
Right, right.
Look, I got my Mini Max last year, brand new. I went right in and recovered all the cushions in it. Even though they were brand new and never used, there was nothing wrong with them. I just didn't like gray and white as a color scheme.
Hey, that's the new hot color scheme.
That's the new hot color. You gotta take the covers off, Janine.
In prison, John.
Did you take the plastic off first?
No, I covered right over them.
Right over the plastic.
I had professional cushions made for them, and they're reversible, and I could take them off, and I could switch them out for the seasons. Women are going to take that little camper, and they're going to make it into a rolling she shed. They want to make it their own. So the best thing the industry can do for us is keep things neutral.
And look what Susie wrote.
Believe it or not, I think we could go for 3 hours tonight. We try to limit it to the hour to be respectful of our guests. But
hey, and the Bruins.
So many questions. Susie, well, the Bruins start at 8 o'clock too. Susie Landis says, leave the swoosh decals off the outside.
I'm with you, Susie.
Lauren Jocelyn Miller says she now wants to start camping. She says Massachusetts just found her by accident, and her stories made me want. Well, I think your note got cut off. Lauren, if you are now in Massachusetts, go to nervda.com. Let me put it up here and sign up for our newsletter. And you're already on our Facebook page. So like our Facebook page, but on nervda.com, you'll see a list of all of our dealers, all of our rental dealers, a lot of information on there. And my email address is on there. So feel free to send me a note if you have a question locally. Michelle posted the Facebook page. Let's see.
Well, I got a lot of requests for camper college in New England. And last year I put a note out to the girl campers. If I come up to New England and do a camper college, should I do it in Connecticut or should I do it in Maine? And they said, it doesn't matter where you do it, we're going to drive to it. There is such a need for it up there by you guys.
Yep. Can always do it talk to Bob and he'll set you up with a dealership.
Well, we could do that, or if we really want to blow it out, we go to one of our larger campgrounds like a Normandy Farms or Loons Haven. We got a lot of campgrounds, and if we would do the girl camper in a campground, then we could get you the group rate for your group. We could have a dealer bring in a couple of small trailers as a display to show a mix of them, and then use one of those to train. So maybe we could take your girl camp up a notch. We always like to be a little bit ahead of that.
And we
like that?
We only did that one time, and we had 100 women come down to Stone Mountain Park outside of Atlanta.
Georgia.
We camped there, and the dealership brought 2 little trailers over, and we did camper college Friday and Saturday night.
Well, we got all right. Then we're gonna take it up a notch. Because here's your challenge, Janine. The most people that you've ever had at a girl camper is 100 people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're going to beat that record. So our objective this fall is to beat your record and have the largest girl camper rally in the country. How's that?
Well, I absolutely want to do that. I'll be here with bells on. It doesn't take much to prompt me to get to New England in the fall.
It doesn't sound it. So,
you know what? New England in the fall is nicer than New England in the summer because the temperatures aren't extreme. You got the beautiful foliage.
I mean, that would be fantastic if we did it. Kind of I suppose we could do it anywhere, but if we got it closer to New Hampshire, Maine, we could do a lobster fest, a lobster bake, a good old fashioned bake.
And one of my favorite campgrounds, Sandy Pines Campground in Kennebunkport.
Well, they would work with us there too. Yep, they would do that, and we could bring Randy Murray in from Pete's RV. Randy and I are going to try to do some seminars and campgrounds this summer, but they're pretty well booked on their recreation activity schedule. But Randy and I do webinars, seminars at a lot of the shows.
Lauren wants, can you bring your aunt? Who's aunt? Your Aunt Lauren?
My New England aunt. So there's a little story. My Aunt Sue lives in Gardner, Mass.
Oh, right up the street
from us. She became widowed and sold the big fifth wheel that she and her husband Gordon had crossed the country in for 12 years. And when we knew we were going to lose Gordon, he made sure he downsized her to a Class C in that she knew how to tow it and do it. So the last 2 years he was alive, they traveled together in that Class C, and she did all the driving and operation of it.
But wait a minute, what kind is it?
Oh, she doesn't have it anymore. But yeah, so I don't remember what kind, but for probably 7 years after she lost her husband, she went back and forth across the country. She went to Alaska 3 times, and she is just a dynamite. She can't camp anymore because she's in Jakarta.
Yeah, that's kind of rough.
She's 84. She celebrated her birthday last year with a skydive.
Okay, so Michelle says if the event is before Columbus Day weekend, we can cover for Rolling on TV. We head cross country October 18th. Well, maybe you should just delay your.
In September, Michelle.
Well, no, maybe Michelle. You know, this is a very important program. This is RVing in New England. I mean, we got you as a headliner tonight. We'll just tell Michelle to delay her trip to Arizona for a couple of weeks.
I'm sure Michelle wouldn't mind.
Yeah.
Except
John,
the girl campers are going to Ireland October 5th.
All right, we'll figure this thing out, but we're going to blow it out here in the fall. Laturco says Ponderosa Campground in Cody, Wyoming. His brother lives in Cody. Bring your aunt.
I've camped there. I've camped at the Ponderosa Campground in Cody.
You did?
Nice.
All right. Stacy McCarter says that would be awesome. Referring to our fall girl camper blowout, she says I'd have to fly in from North Carolina. That would be the other thing that would be interesting. So what's the representation of states that you've had at any one camper college?
Well, we did our big event in Texas where we had a fantastic camper college where we did a 4-hour camper college with 4 different stations. So every hour there was a different one, hooking up your electrical system, voltage and solar, and, hitching, tires, safety, all that. So we had 4 different stations.
So how many different states?
We had come from 17 different states for that.
Okay. All right. So here's the objective. Then we need to get more than 100 people, and we need to get more than 17 states, which is not hard to do. If we get somebody like Normandy Farms engaged, they get people from all over the country. Look at I would love to continue this for another couple of hours, but Janine, we're gonna have to bring you back because
I'll come back.
I know you're going to blow it out here on our attendance and views, but we're running right up against the Bruins, and they're playing the national anthem.
Well, we wouldn't want anyone to miss that. We're going to bring the Stanley Cup, right?
Right. The Stanley Cup is coming to Boston. 3 championships in 9 months. Three world championships in 9 months.
Yeah, it's good to be a Boston sports fan these days.
It is. It is the best sports city in the country.
Okay, I got to go to bed because I got to get up at 3.
Well, you enjoy your trip.
Janine, thank you very much for joining us tonight. This was a
welcome. Thank you for having me.
Great job.
And we may or may not see John next week, depending on where he is.
I'll be back. I'll be back on Monday. So it's a short trip.
It's that quick. Okay,
it's that quick.
All right.
We fly back Monday night, so I'll be here.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining.
I'll be sure to share this on the Girl Camper Facebook page. So thank you.
I'm going to send you the link in about 5 minutes.
Well, thank you. Thank you both. And safe travels. Happy trails, John.
All right.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye, Bob.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.